Yorkshire Peaches Therapies and welcome back to my channel. Today is a little bit of an unexpected video. I wasn't planning to film today, but I had a really important email drop into my inbox from my governing body, IAT, so that's the International Association for Animal Therapists, and this is with regards to the reform of the Veterinary Surgeons Act 1966. So 1966, that was quite a while ago, and obviously the landscape of veterinary practice has changed so much across that time, and there's different proposals kind of been put forward on, okay, how do we reform this act? So basically, under the Veterinary Surgeons Act, I'm just kind of, what's the word? Not ad-libbing. What is the word? Can't remember. But anyway, basically, Veterinary Surgeons Act, a vet is the only person who can diagnose or provide treatment for an animal. And kind of like a subclause of that is an allied professional with veterinary consent can provide treatment. So what I do when I put hands on a dog, that is treatment. I am providing a treatment. So the proposals that they've put, I mean, the document's absolutely massive. I kind of just started skipping through little bits to get to the juicy bit, which is ask me the question. So basically, for the next 8 weeks, the government, so that's DEFRA, so that's the Department for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, are reaching out to everyone. So that's therapists, dog walkers, groomers, vet nurses, veterinary surgeons, even pet parents can do this as well. And I think it's really important that we take this opportunity with both hands to have our say on what we think this new reform of legislation should look like. So what I wanted to do, I started doing the questions, and then I was like, do you know what? Like, I'm not bothered if people, know what I think, because I'm very opinionated, as you know. So I thought we will go through and do the questions together. That's not to say that I'm right or anything, nothing like that, but just to try and encourage people that everyone has a voice in this conversation. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make me a little bit smaller. I'm going to put myself over here. And these were some of the questions. Now, don't get me wrong, like I do not know everything about this legislation. However, working in this industry, I have a lot of opinions. So it's split into 4 chapters, this new proposal and things that they're wanting to achieve. So the first one is license to practice and how these proposals achieve stated objectives. So I am a big fan of regulation. The animal industry is heavily underregulated. That's across the board. That's therapists, that's trainers, that's dog groomers, there's dog walkers, everyone. And also, I can't believe that the title veterinary nurse isn't protected. What? They have to pay to be on a register. They have to study really hard to get that title, and it's not even protected. So part of this reform is they are looking to kind of tighten up the regulations around the titles that people could use. So I could call myself a veterinary nurse at the moment. I'm not going to, but I could. And there's no one to stop me. I mean, people could call me out on my absolute bullshit. But there's no protection for our very dedicated, hard-working veterinary nurses. So anyway, right, okay. So, license to practice. By mandating licensing for all veterinary professionals, this process ensures accountability and consistent standards across the professions. Yes, please. The proposed introduction to different licensing would enable those who would otherwise be excluded from the professions to participate. The proposal upholds animal health and welfare by setting out key but flexible requirements for all the veterinary professions that would ensure high quality care and protection for animals well into the future. The flexibility to regulate additional professions and protect their titles means that the proposed new legislation can respond to the needs of the veterinary market in order to protect the public and the consumers, maintain high standards of animal health and welfare, and uphold public trust and reputation of the profession. So, I fall under, so you've got veterinary surgeons, veterinary nurses, and then allied professionals. So your massage therapist, chiropractor, hydrotherapist, all of us lot, we're allied professionals. So I did answer these questions, but now I've forgotten what I put, so it'll be a surprise for me as well. Okay. Veterinary acts can only be carried out by those who have an appropriate licence to undertake them. A veterinary surgeon with a full licence to practice will be allowed to undertake all veterinary acts, yeah. Veterinary nurses and allied veterinary professionals will be able to undertake some veterinary acts as determined by the regulator. So the current regulator is the Royal College, RFE, is it? No, wait a minute. Royal College of Veterinary Surgeons. That's who's the regulator in the UK. So which of the following do you think should be considered as... Hang on. Which of the following do you think should be considered as veterinary acts? Okay, so it's a good job that I read the question in full, because I think that answer's incorrect. So, what I determine as a veterinary act: diagnosis of disease and injuries in animals, carrying out tests on animals for diagnostic purposes. And I was thinking, like, maybe, I mean, it's gonna be broad, because that this is something that's going out to like farmers as well, who they have something, I can't remember what it's called, but basically they can administer like antibiotics to their own animals through like injections and stuff without a vet being present, but they have to get the antibiotics off the vet. But carrying out tests, is this like proprioception test? I don't think so, but that is part of a diagnostic criteria, say for example neurological issues. But which of the following do you think should be considered as veterinary acts? So a diagnosis, carrying out tests. Now, giving advice based upon a diagnosis, I think that's something that quite comfortably sits with allied professionals. I'm so glad that I reread that. Signing off official certification should be a veterinary act. So I'm thinking things like pet passports and all the paperwork that goes with like importing meat and stuff like that. Medical treatment of animals. So is that prescribing? Is that prescribing? Because if that's prescribing medication, then that's a vet. Medical treatment of animals, is that massage? I'm going to take that this should be done by a vet, but I'd like more clarity on what that statement looks like, because technically when you have physio, chiro, massage, hydro, that is a treatment, but it's not. Well, it is it medical? What's the definition of medical? I don't know. Performance of surgical operations on animal. This one's a real big one for me, because there's like this dirty secret in the... Well, it's not really a secret. Everyone knows about it. These artificial insemination clinics where they're doing things like taking blood, they're collecting semen samples, artificial insemination. Categorically, I do not believe an allied health professional, or not, they're not even allied health professionals, they're just people who, I don't know, it's not my bag, but I think there needs to be standardisation in that sector. I know that with farm animals and horses, like, it's a whole big thing, but in the dog industry, that's not as regulated as what it should be, in my opinion. So yeah, which of the following do you think considers veterinary acts? Diagnosis, carrying out tests, official certification, medical treatment and surgery. Okay, right, I'm happy with that. Glad I proofread. Because I would have looked like a silly Billy if I'd have handed this in, because I've put that I don't want my responses to be anonymous. So, to what extent do you agree or disagree with the following statement? Only individuals with a valid, appropriate licence to practice, or those that have an exemption order to undertake specific acts, that's the farmers, should be allowed to perform veterinary acts as detailed previously. And I agree. I strongly agree that this new licensing system is going to, I don't know, but I think it should put us all into different categories. So there'll be a category for veterinary surgeons, a category for veterinary nurses, and also vet techs as well, and then allied health professionals. Yeah, so they need an appropriate licence to practice. but the Veterinary Surgeons Act are those that currently have a licence, which are your vets and your vet nurses and your vet techs, I believe. So I strongly agree with that, so that's staying the same. Question number 3. Which, if any, penalty should be imposed on anyone who performs veterinary acts without a valid licence to practice? So what's going to be the repercussions if, for instance, a veterinary nurse or allied veterinary professional, so that would be myself, carrying out acts which should only be carried out by a veterinary surgeon? So suspension of licence, 100%. Legal action, 100%. Professional disqualification, yes. Reputation damage by publicly announcing the penalty faced by the individual, yes. Revocation of licence? Hang on, I'm going to have to Google that. Revocation meaning. Cancellation. Okay. Is that not? Well, I suppose suspension would be saying allegations made against you, they suspend your licence pending further investigation. So revoking it, yes. Fines and financial penalties, yes, as long as it goes along with one of these other things. So, you know, say for example, someone who does, I'm just going to use artificial insemination as an example, they do something and they go, you've got a fine, don't be naughty again, and they just pay the fine and they just carry on. It needs to be like a two-pronger, or 3 even. It needs to, if an allegation is made, there needs to be a suspension of the licence pending investigation. Following that investigation, there needs to be disqualification from your profession, a fine, and legal action. And I'm being deadly serious. I've had it up to here with the absolute tomfoolery I'm seeing in this industry at the moment. I'm thinking trainers who use abusive equipment and take people's money and tell them that they're making their dog better. I don't know if trainers are included in this legislation. They absolutely should be, but I think this is more therapy. I'm not sure. We'll keep on reading. Okay. So, this is licensed practice. So, the definition of animal in the Animal Welfare Sentience Act 2022 is animal means any vertebrate other than Homo sapiens, which is us, humans, any cephalop, mollusk, and crustacean. What on earth? So sentience, so recognising an animal as a sentient being, so not property but a sentient being. So how appropriate is the use to define an animal that's covered? So I'd say it's appropriate. Not that I've ever massaged a mollusk, but I'd say it's very, very appropriate. Or maybe do I put don't know? Do you know what? I'm going to put don't know because the law still doesn't recognise if a dog is stolen that they're a sentient being that's been stolen. They recognise it as property been stolen. But they're asking about veterinary. I'm going to put don't know because I don't know. Okay. The video you have seen shows the process for veterinary surgeons, veterinary nurses and allied veterinary professionals to gain a licence to practice. How confident are you that this ensures professionals are fully qualified, proficient in English and have not committed serious crimes? Right. Link to... Why is it about 5,000 different things that I have to click through? Okay, 5-minute video. 5-minute video. Okay, so I'm still watching the video, but I wanted to jump on. So basically, with this licensing, the process is going to look something like you have to demonstrate a fitness to practice. So your fitness to practice includes a character reference, a health reference, and from what I've read, things are like if you have a disability that there are reasonable adjustments put in place for that disability. Hold eligible qualifications and meet day 1 competencies. So that's degrees, diplomas and other qualifications. Have a suitable level of English depending on the profession. and then pay a fee to the regulator, and then have a minimum of indemnity insurance. It is scary that people don't have a minimum of indemnity insurance to practice. Right, okay, I'm going back in. Right, I'm going to put me back over here. I stopped watching the video. It was talking about flowcharts and stuff, and I was like, one of the things it mentioned as well was self-declaration of criminal convictions. I'm on the fence about that, to be honest. I really am on the fence about it. I think that, I don't know, that people should be DBS checked as part of it. But obviously that will lengthen the process. What's that going to look like? What things fall into the category of, okay, you're not going to get your licence? I don't know. I'm more than happy to have a DBS check. Mine is clear, apart from a speeding ticket. I don't think that goes on your DBS. Right, so my question is, the video you've seen shows the process for veterinary surgeons, nurses, or veterinary professionals to gain a licence to practice. How confident are you that this ensures professionals are fully qualified, proficient in English, and have not committed serious crimes? I'm going to put fairly confident, just because it's a voluntary declaration of crimes. Criminal history, sorry. Okay, right. God, I am so dyslexic and also ADHD and autistic, so filling out forms kills me. But I know this is important, so we persevere. Currently, registered veterinary nurses can only carry out veterinary tasks if they are delegated from a veterinary surgeon employed by the same business. Should registered veterinary nurses be able to carry out specific roles such as district nursing without direct delegation from a veterinary surgeon? Yeah, I think they should carry it out. If they have their veterinary nursing qualification and they have their licence, which will stipulate what they can and can't do. But I would say something along the lines of they have to have a practice that they, like a bricks and mortar practice that they work with. So yeah, I think veterinary nurses should carry that out, especially with district nurse, and 100%. Okay. To what extent do you agree or disagree with the proposal to expand regulation to include allied professionals' equine behaviours? Yes. Okay, strongly agree. Okay, right, what am I going to put? Do you know what? I will come back to that. No, actually, I'm going to do it now because I know I won't come back to it. Okay, behaviours. I 100% support this proposal. For too long, the animal industry sector has been heavily under-regulated when it comes to allied professionals. Groomers, therapists, dog walkers, dog trainers or behaviourists. We have, in particular, an epidemic of abusive practices. In particular, an epidemic of abusive practices in the dog training arena, the dog training sector. Minimal qualifications, use of aversive tools and outdated practice is rife. In the therapy sector, I'm going to say it, fun swims in cold water without a qualified professional. Do you know what? I'll get rid of the fun swims bit because you can have, in the therapy sector, I'll put hydrotherapy. No. am I trying to say? In the therapy sector, cold water, swimming, professing to be hydrotherapy is cold water swimming without qualified professionals professing to be hydrotherapy is highly unethical. I think that's it for now. To what extent is it important or not for the professional titles of veterinary nurses to be protected? Yeah, and allied professionals, very important. I welcome that. To what extent do you agree or disagree that farriers should be incorporated? I strongly agree. There was a something I saw in the news of a farrier who smacked a horse in the face with a hammer. It was caught on CCTV. He wasn't allowed to practice as a farrier, but he continued to work as a barefoot trimmer, and I thought that was absolutely ridiculous. So I strongly agree that farriers should be included in this. Do you think that air should be regulated? Yes, they should be regulated. Again, it's not mine. Do you have any comments you wish to make on licence to practice? I have big feelings. Any comments? I welcome the proposal, but would like more detail on how this will be rolled out and regulated once in action. I know this information will likely come following this consultation. Okay, continue. There's another three chapters on my days. We moved fitness to practice. Right, okay. Yeah, I'm not reading that. I'll just get me to the questions. Get me to the questions, please. Serious offences. Ooh. Scary. Review of sanctions, appeals, removal. Treat professionals with respect and impartially. Yes, please. Transparency. Yes, please. Responding to appropriately. Triage assessments, because there is so much at the moment backbiting about I don't agree with that type of therapy, and it's like, do you know what? They've got the qualifications. They're part of a governing body. You're just being salty. Get a grip. Okay. Thinking of the process you've just read about, the video I've watched, to what extent do you agree fitness to practice? Yes, I agree. No comment. I'm really sorry, I'm not going to read through all that. Thinking about someone in the veterinary team who is found to have a current impairment. Okay, current impairment refers to serious misconduct, performance being below what is expected, conviction of a criminal offence, long-term physical or mental health, where someone cannot safely, for themselves or their patients, work in that area they are working due to substance abuse. Undertakings, a formal promise regarding the actions that the professional has to do. Undergoing professional development, yes. God, conditions on their licence. Suspension of licence. If we put conditions on the licence because someone struggles with mental health, I struggle with my mental health. not carry out specific work or work under supervision, is that work under supervision going to be supportive? So say someone had a mental health crisis, how can you best support them in the workplace? I'm thinking of vets or vet nurses, and say they've had a mental health crisis, for example, and the condition on their licence is that they do not do PTS, maybe. I'm going to stick with that for now. If a veterinary professional had their licence to practice removed by the regulator, how long do you think the minimum period should be, allowing them to apply for their licence to be restored? I think that if you've been kicked off of your licensing, I don't think you should be able to apply. Brutal. In a situation where a vet is alleged to have a current impairment, disability, substance abuse, what if any information should they? No, they shouldn't. Letter from the doctor. God, this is awful. I don't like this. An independent assessment report on the professional's performance with relevant health information in relation to the individual's ability to carry out their duties. So this would be like occupational health, I think. So independent assessment, not the medical records. Bore off. Comments, fitness to practice. Mental health problems are a huge factor of the animal industry across the board, with mounting pressures, cost of living crisis. We feel this deeply. I think with regards to mental health and disability, this learn to spell, Yasmin, disability, this should be a reflection of a supporting and nurturing environment, to keep. No, I'm just going to put supporting and nurturing environment. With regards to criminal convictions, this needs to be reviewed on a case by case basis. So things like any trigger warning, any domestic abuse, sexual convictions or anything like that. Nope. No thank you. No thank you. Next steps. Right, okay, have I got one more to go? No, I've got two. Right, yep. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, healthcare, yes, please. Regulation, come on. Where are the questions? Oh dear. Ooh, okay. Inspections. Take copies of documents, take photographs, make recordings. Okay. This is, oh god. Appeals, yeah. Can I just get to the questions, please? Okay. Which, if any, of the following veterinary animal healthcare businesses should be regulated? Everyone. Everyone should be regulated. There we go. That was a quick one. Thinking about a scenario, business has multiple premises, different branches across a number of different geographic locations. Which of the options below should a named responsible person be responsible for? So each premises and location needs their own person responsible for it, and an addition person for overall central business as part of a large veterinary group. So yeah, that makes sense. Should be assessed by the regulator. Health and safety, yeah. Animal welfare, yes. Staff welfare, yes. Qualifications, yes. Training, yes. Record keeping, yes. Management, storage and use of medicine, yes. Leadership of the practice. I'm gonna for vets, yes. Especially ones that are working in corporate. Because potentially they have people working above them that aren't vets, which creates difficulties. Equipment and facilities, treatment of consumers and customers, yes. Visible information about prices, yes. Participation with the external mediation adjudication service. I don't know what that means, someone on ticket. But yeah, everything. Should have a licence for the regulator before they open the premises. Which, if any of the following, do you think a premises must have in place before a licence is issued? I think there needs to be that the business meets the requirement of the licence, named responsible person at the business, named responsible person at business level, inspection by the regulator of premises, inspection of the premise based on risk. Don't know what that means. Continue. Okay, if the regulator is concerned about a veterinary business, which, if any of the following situations, do you think the regulator should have powers of entry? Routine inspection. So routine means that it's planned. Spot inspections, risk-based spot inspections, I think could be better, because with my kind of caseload, if someone tried to go into this building with some of the dogs that I work with, they wouldn't get very far. So based on risk, I think spot inspections are fine. Warranted powers of entry from the police. I mean, if there was the concerns with that grave, then yes. I'm thinking things like farms, veterinary practices, also any of us really. Warranted powers of entry from the police for private dwellings. Mobile remote businesses where paperwork is kept in there. So that's their house. Well, yeah, if you're not if you're gonna work from home, where are you keeping all your stuff? Be on your laptop, be at home. Okay. Oh God, it's all a bit. Ugh. Which, if any, of the following sanctions and actions do you think the regulator should impose for non-compliance? Charge a business owner with a criminal offence if it's operating without a licence, correct. Provide guidance and advice on improvements, yes. Impose fines based on non-compliance, yes. Issue an improvement notice and a time frame, yes. Suspend the practice licence, suspend, i.e. all premises within the business. Following sanctions, yeah. I think the regulator should impose for non-compliance. No, so non-compliance. I'm not going to put permanent removal of licence because it needs to go through a process of like checking. Inspection of my business premises. I can't spell. Premises. Other would have to ensure no dogs are in the building. No appointments. Would have to ensure no appointments are booked on inspection day to allow minimal stress and disruption to the dogs that attend my clinic. Okay, right, last one now. Nearly there. regulator, down, blah, 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 blah. Okay, this is heavy, and I could go into a lot more detail, but to be honest, just having a say is going to be better than having no say. Accountability, statutory appeals, yes. Okay. Their names, open membership, registered allied veterinary professional. Right, okay. Proposed structure. So regulation, academy environment. How to interact with the profession. Yes, the public do need more guidance on that. I think this is going to be talking about right, okay. Which of the two illustrative options do you believe would most effectively serve the veterinary sector in the future? Regulator with professional leadership function. This would retain the regulator with the professional leadership function as a single entity, but an internal divide between regulating and leadership functions. Or splitting professional leadership functions from regulator. This would mean retaining the regulator to complete all the statutory requirements set out in this consultation, with the option for professions to set up an organisation to complete professional leadership functions. Yes? I say yes on that one. Do you believe maintaining a single body, including fractions, would bring clear lines of communications? Yes. Efficiency of regulation and professional leadership? Yes. Not the cost of setting up a new. Increase clarity and transparency functions for the public and professions? Yes. Maintain a system that the public and professions are used to. Keeping post norms for veterinary professional. Maintaining the Royal Charter. What? Ooh, two questions there. What, if any, benefits do you see from the split model with a separate? Oh. Professional. Oh. Okay, right. I'm not answering that one then. Profession side, if they want a professional leadership, improve flexibility. Title of regulator. Do you know modern technology means communication is not really affected? Influence on the regulatory and vice versa. Improve flexibility. Right, okay. Continue. Body regulated. Work in synergy to minimise bias in decision making. Remain. If you identify, how would these be mitigated against? Open, clear communication between both parties and having some and holding each other accountable. Okay. This bit separate. No. Okay. Regulate. So, to what extent are each of the following important or not? Protecting animal health and welfare is very important. Promoting public confidence, yes. Maintaining professional standards, yes. Protecting consumers, yes. And ensuring fair competition, yes. Okay. To what extent is professional leadership body important? I don't know. I'm just going to put don't know because I don't. Which, if any of the following, do you consider to be the primary function of the professional leadership body? Specialist specific standards above the mandatory level of specialisms. Activities conduct based on overreaching codes, professional leadership. Yes. Educating the public, how to interact. Yeah. Which of the following, if anything, should be prioritised when appointing individuals to boards? Areas of expertise. Yes. Geographical representation, yes. Professional background, yes. Yes. Regulatory or educational experience, yes. We need a mixed bag of people on these boards. To what extent is the independent oversight of the regulator important or not in relation? Appointment processes for the board is very important. Fitness to practice and overall performance. The regulator is responsible for setting fees. Which, if any, of the following aspects should the regulator consult on? Economic impact, yes. How much it's going to be? That the fees will support, yes. How funds from fees should be used for different, yes. To update or consult any legal, yes. I don't know what a stakeholder is, someone saying no. How important is it to have, for veterinary professionals to have post norms as well as licensing numbers from the regulator? Very important. Be proud of your qualifications. Which approach to post norm do you prefer for veterinary professionals? Just let them however they have it. Regulating, stating their bodies. What? There's so many brackets in here. Unified post norms relating to the regulator stating the person's profession. Profession specific post norms. That one. Which part of His Majesty's Courts and Tribunal Services should hear statutory appeals? Regulatory Tribunal. Should appeals be on full merits basis, decided on facts and merits of the entire case, not just the specific point of law? On points of law only, it needs to be a combination. Do you have any comments? No comment, because I don't know really what you're talking about. Oh! Finished? Yes! Oh my days. Okay. Right. Continue. Yep. Yeah, read all of them. Sorry. Do you agree or disagree with the proposed? I agree. Explain answer. To take increasing pressure off veterinary practices, the system of how allied health professionals work needs to be streamlined. This could potentially be achieved with the new proposed licensing. I do, however, encourage deep collaboration with current regulatory bodies, IAT, RAMP, NVAP, ACPAC, in order to support all allied health professionals. As regarding the proposal, you have not adjusted no additional comments. Will discriminate against or benefits those with protected characteristics. I don't know. Okay. Oh. Satisfied. There could be more videos explaining segments of the proposal. The proposal, as someone who is neurodiverse, struggled to maintain focus on the extent of legislation proposals to read through. Continue. Almost done. Click. Give Permission to analyse and include your response to our results, which you click submit. Yeah, job's good in. Thank you very much. Submit. Okay, right. That was the lot. That was a lot, but it's important. And I encourage the therapists, dog walkers, dog trainers, dog groomers, pet parents, whoever, if you have the time and the headspace to sit and just go kind of and like give your opinion on stuff, go for it, because it's really important. I've always said the animal industry is heavily underregulated and it needs to change, and it's coming. It's something is happening, and it's very exciting. But also, it's going to be really interesting to see kind of how this rolls out. But yeah, I hope this video was of interest. I know it's really long, but you saw how long that form was. But it was just to encourage us who are, I know we're very time poor, but this is really important to have your voice heard. Right, I'm going to go get ready for clinic. As always, lots of love to you and your dogs, and I will speak to you soon. Take care for now. Bye.